Jerrykunns. Happy Thanksgiving. I haven't made a video in a while, but doesn't matter. But I want to do something special because it's Thanksgiving. And I've been thinking about people who aren't as fortunate to have families to spend it with, or people who just can't they can't be with their families right now. I feel like they still deserve to have something special. If you are going through that, I really hope you are doing well today and know that you're loved and yeah, you're loved, and this still could be a special day. You should go out, enjoy yourself, or make yourself a nice dinner and just enjoy your day. But today I'm gonna read bedtime stories. Well, not bedtime stories, turkey Thanksgiving stories, because I feel like it will be soothing maybe for people who are experiencing not having their family with them, or just not enjoying this holiday so much. I want to do something special for those people because I feel like, honestly, I kind of feel like they're overlooked a lot. Nobody ever thinks about that as much. They do, but I feel like they should be getting more recognition because they have to, they have the hardship of this season, and this season becomes hard for them. So I just want to give them some sort of joy on this day. So let's get into it. Honk. Honk. I spun around like a top, looking nervously in every direction. I was familiar with that sound. I'd heard it before, during 2 summer vacations at the old farmhouse on the Cape. It'd been a terror to me. I always put a door, fence, or a stone wall between me and that sound as speedily as possible. I had just come down from the city to the Cape for my 3rd summer vacation. I had left the cars with my arms full of bundles and hurried towards Targoods. The cottage stood in the road, and there was a long meadow in front of it. In the meadow there were 2 great oaks and some clusters of lilacs. An old mossy stone wall protected the grounds from the road, and a long walk from the old wooden gate to the door. It was a sunny day, and my heart was light. The orioles were flaming in the old orchids. The bobolinks were tossing themselves about in the long meadows of timothy, daisies, and patches of clover. There was a scent of new mown hay in the air. In the distance lay the bay, calm and resplendent, with white sails and specks of boats. Beyond it rose Martha's vineyard, green and cool and bowery, and at its wharf lay a steamer. I was, as I said, light-hearted. I was thinking of rides over the sandy roads at the close of the long bright nights, of excursions on the bay, and of clam bakes and picnics. I was hungry, and before me rose visions of Aunt Terga's fish dinners, roast chickens, berry pies. I was thirsty, but ahead of the old well sweep and beyond the cool lattice of the dairy window were pans of milk in abundance. I tripped on towards the door with light feet, lugging my bundles and beaded with perspiration, but unmindful of all the discomforts in the thought of the bright days and good things in store for me. Honk, honk. My heart gave a bound. Where did that sound come from? Out of a cool cluster of innocent-looking lilac bushes, I saw a dark object cautiously moving. It seemed to have no head. I knew, however, that it did have a head. I'd seen it. It seized me once on the previous summer, and I had been in terror during the rest of the season. I looked down on the irregular grass, and saw the head, and it had a very long neck running along the ground, propelled by the dark body like a snake running away from a ball. It was coming towards me. Faster and faster it approached. I dropped all of my bundles. In a few flying heaps, I returned to the road again, and armed myself with a stick up from a pile of cordwood. Honk, honk, honk. It was a call of triumph. The head was high in the air now. My enemy moved grandly forward, as became the monarch of the great meadow farmyard. I stood with beating heart after my retreat. It was Aunt Terga's gander. How he enjoyed his triumph, and how small and cowardly he made me feel. Honk, honk, honk. The geese came out of the lilac bushes, bowing their heads to him in admiration. Then came the goslings, a long procession of awkward, half-feathered things. They appeared equally delighted. The gander seemed to be telling his admiring audience all about it, how a strange girl with many bundles had attempted to cross the yard, how he had driven her back, how he had captured her bundles and now was the monarch of the field. He clapped his wings when he finished his heroic story, and he set forth such a honk that may have startled a major general. Among my effects were 7 pounds of chocolate caramels, done up in brown paper. Aunt Terga loved caramels, and I brought her a large supply. He tore off the wrappers quickly, bit one. It was good. He began to distribute the bonbons among the geese, and with much liberality and goodwill among the goslings. This was too much. I ventured through the gate and swung my cordwood stick. Shoo! He dropped his head on the ground and drove it down the walk in a lively waddle towards me. Shoo! It was Aunt Terga's voice at the door. He stopped immediately. His head was in the air again. Shoo! Out came Aunt Terga with her broom. She always corrected the gander with her broom. If I were to be whipped, I should choose a broom, not the stick. As soon as he beheld the broom, he retired, although with much offended pride and dignity, to the lilac bushes, and the geese and goslings followed him. Hester, you dear child, come here. I was expecting you, and had been looking out for you, but missed sight of you. I forgot all about the gander. We gathered up the bundles and caramels. I was lighthearted again. How good was the sitting room! With the woodbine falling about the open windows, Aunt bought me a pitcher of milk and some strawberries, some bread and some honey, and a fan. While I was resting and taking my lunch, I could hear the gander discussing the affairs of the farmyard with the geese. I did not greatly enjoy the discussion. His tone of voice was very proud, and he did not seem to be talking well of me. I was suspicious that he did not take me a very brave girl. A young person likes to be spoken well of, even by the gander. Aunt Terga's gander has been the terror of well-meaning people, and some of evildoers. For many years, I have seen the tramps and peck peddlers enter the gate and start on towards the door. When there would sound that ringing warning like a war blast. Honk, honk, and in a few minutes, these unwelcome people would be gone. Farmhouse boarders from the city would sometimes enter the yard thinking to draw water by the old well sweep. In a few minutes, it was customary to hear shrieks and to see women and children flying over the walls, followed by ear-rending honks, and the jubilant cackles from the vicious gander and his admiring family. Aunt, what makes you keep the gander year after year? After one evening, as we were sitting on the lawn before the door. Is it because he's kind of like a watchdog and keeps the troublesome people away? No, child, no. I do not wish to keep most people away, not well-behaved people, nor distress nor annoy anyone. The fact is, there's a story about the gander that I do not like to speak of to everyone. Something that makes me feel tender towards him, so that if he needs a whipping, I would rather do it. He knows something that no one else knows. I could not have him killed or sent away. Have you heard me speak of Nathaniel, my oldest boy? Yeah, that is his picture in my room, you know. He was a good boy to me. He loved his mother, and I love Nathaniel. You can never think about how much I love Nathaniel. It was on my account that he went away. The farm did not produce enough for us all. Nathaniel, Jonathan, and I. We worked hard and had a hard time. One year, that was 10 years ago, we were sued for our taxes. Nathaniel said I will go to Tekun borders. Then he looked up to me and said, Mother, I will go to sea. Where? Asked I in surprise. In a coaster. I turned white. How I felt. You and John can manage this place. One of the vessels sails next week. Uncle Aaron's. He offers to take me. It seemed best, and he made preparations to go. The spring before, Skipper Ben, have you met Skipper Ben? Had given me some goose eggs. He had brought them from Canada and said they were wild goose eggs. I set them under hens, and for weeks I had 3 goslings. I took them up to my house at first, but afterward made a pen for them out of the yard. I brought them up myself, and one of the goslings is the gander. Skipper Ben came over to see me the day before Nathaniel was set to sail. Aaron came with him. I said to Aaron, what can I give Nathaniel to carry to sea to make him think of home? Cake, preserves, apples? I haven't got much. I have done all I can for him. Poor boy. Brother looked at me curiously and said, give him one of them wild geese. And we will fatten it up on shipboard and have it for our Thanksgiving dinner. What Brother Aaron said pleased me. The young gander was a noble bird, the handsomest of the lot, and I resolved to keep the geese to kill for my own use and to give him to Nathaniel. The next morning, it was late in September, I took leave of Nathaniel. I tried to be calm and cheerful and hopeful. I watched him as he went down the walk, and gander struggling in his arms. A stranger would have laughed, but I do not feel like laughing. It was true that the boys who went coasting were usually gone in a few months, and came home handy and happy. But when poverty compels a mother and son to part, after they have been true to each other and share feelings in common, it seems hard. It seems hard, though I don't like to murmur and complain at anything allotted to me. I saw him go over the hill. On the top he stopped and held up the gander. He disappeared. Yes, my own Nathaniel disappeared. I think of him now as one who disappeared. November came. It was a terrible month on the coast of that year. Storm followed storm, and the seafaring people talked constantly of wrecks and losses. I could not sleep on the nights of those high winds. I used to lie awake thinking over all the happy hours I had lived with Nathaniel. Thanksgiving week came. It was full of Indian summer brightness after the long storms. The nights were frosty, bright, and calm. I could sleep on those calm nights. One morning, I thought I heard a strange sound in the woodland pasture. It was like a wild goose, I listened, and it was repeated. I was lying in bed. I started up. I thought I had been dreaming. On the night before Thanksgiving, I went to bed early. Being very tired, the moon was full, the air was calm and still. I was still thinking of Nathaniel, and I wondered if he would indeed have the gander for his Thanksgiving dinner. If it was cooked as well as I would have cooked it, he would have think of me that day. I was going to sleep when suddenly I heard a sound that made me start up and hold my breath. Honk! It was followed by a nervous shock. Honk, honk. There it was again, in the yard. I was surely awake and in my senses. I heard the geese cackle. Honk, honk, honk. I got out of bed and lifted the curtain. It was almost as light as day. Instead of the 2 geese that were there, I had one of the neighbor's geese stolen away. I should have thought so, and should have not felt disturbed. But for the reason that none of the neighbor's geese had that particular call, that horn-like tone had noticed in mine, I went out to the door. The 3rd goose looked like the very gander I had given Nathaniel. Could it be? I did not sleep. I rose early and went to the crib for some corn. It was a gander, a wild gander that had come into the night, had seemed to know me. I trembled all over as though I had seen a ghost. I was so faint I sat down on a meal chest. As I was in that place, a bill pecked against the door. The door opened. The strange gander came hobbling over to the cribstone and went to the corn bin. He stopped there, looked at me, and gave a sort of glad honk, as he knew me and was glad to see me. I was certain that this was the gander I had raised, and that Nathaniel had lifted the air when he gave it to the recognition of the top of the hill. It overcame me. It was Thanksgiving. The church bell would soon be ringing as it on Sunday, and here was Nathaniel's Thanksgiving dinner. And Brother Aaron's, had it flown away? Where was the vessel? Years had passed. 10. You know, I waited and waited for my boy to come back. December grew dark with its rainy seas, and the snows fell. May lighted up the hills, but the vessel never came back. My Nathaniel never returned. The gander knows something he could tell me if he could talk. Birds have memories. He remembered the corn crib. He remembered something else. I wish he could talk, poor bird. I wish he could talk. I would never sell him, nor kill him, nor have him abused. He knows. Okay, that was the story. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a pretty lengthy story, so I think I'm gonna end it here. But I really hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and even though it's a hard day, it could be a hard day for you, I hope that you still take some time to just enjoy the day and make yourself a nice dinner, or just make yourself feel joy. You can, watch a special Thanksgiving episode, or watch your favorite movie or favorite show. I think that would really help you feel better. And even if you don't, even if you are, I hope you enjoy Thanksgiving. If you are spending with family, I hope you enjoy it and you enjoy this day because you earned it and you get to grub down on some good food. So I hope everyone's enjoying. Happy Thanksgiving, and it was glad to read for you guys.